Hello fellow anime geeks and welcome to my guide to 2022 fall anime series premieres. It's now been over a couple of weeks and I've managed to watch at least the first episode of everything on Crunchyroll. So let's get started with Saturdays, because not only did the season start on a Saturday, but it's a very Saturday-centered season. Noumin Kanren no skill Bakka Agetetara, Nazeka Tsuyoku Natta. Or, I've somehow gotten stronger when I improved my farm-related skills. Just try to ignore the poor English grammar in that sentence. Premiered October 1st, Saturday at 2200 JST, and is available on HIDIVE. The tags are action, adventure, and fantasy, and this is based on a completed 2016 5-volume light novel series with not a lot of information. It's got a not super well-rated manga adaptation, but it's perhaps not the best to go by because it has a very small sample size. Studio ACAT is taking on the adaptation. It's an old studio, but I don't recognize much other than their recent adaptation of Kendashi. Akuyaku Reijou nano de last boss o Kattemimashita, or I'm the Villainess, so I'm taming the final boss, is on Saturdays at 22:30 JST. It premiered October 1st, though I think we might have gotten 2 episodes in that premiere because there's one more episode than everything else from that day, much to my pleasure. It's promised for 12 episodes, and the tags are comedy, fantasy, isekai, romance, and shoujo. This is based on a 2017 light novel that, interestingly enough, got a 3-volume 15-chapter manga adaptation in 2018. I'm hoping that this means that there's going to be a satisfying, sweet ending for this 12-episode arc. So far, it's very fun. The premise is similar to Hamefura, but with a satisfying revenge plotline, wittier tone, and quick pace of Mobseka. A relatively new but busy studio is adapting it, Maho Film. They did Hyakuma no Inochi, Uchimusume, and Kamihiro. Kokyu no Karasu, or Raven of the Inner Palace, is on Saturdays at 23:30 JST. It premiered October 1st and is promised for 13 episodes, available on Crunchyroll. The tags are fantasy, historical, and magic, but I would actually call this a supernatural mystery as our protagonist uses her strange powers to solve cruel and brutal cases in the Imperial Castle. I can't tell that this one is going to be good yet. It gives off the vibe that it could be one of those really overly dramatic fantasy romances where there's just like too much stuff going on, but it seems oddly slow at the same time, or it could go the completely opposite way and just be a new, interesting, well-developed mystery with very specific problems inside a very specific setting. It's just really hard to tell with mystery. This is based on a 7-volume novel series from 2018 that finished this year, and Bandai Namco Pictures is busy this season adapting this novel series and the 3rd season of Iruma-kun. Yuusha party o Tsuihou Sareta Beast Tamer, Saikyoushu no Nekomimi Shoujo to Deau, or simply Beast Tamer on Crunchyroll. Technically premiered on Sunday, October 2nd, but it's one of those that we actually get on a Saturday. It's promised for 13 episodes, and the tags are action, comedy, and fantasy. I'm not sure if I would say this is a comedy, but I would definitely like to add harem, seeing as these beasts that our protagonist is taming are actually just cute girls. But hey, I'm just happy that we can do fantasy without making it an isekai. It's a similar premise to Last Dungeon Mai no Mura, but with the fun underdog yet OP character adventure story that I feel Yuusha Party Oida Sareta should have had. EMT Squared Studio is adapting this fairly new 2019 light novel series. I haven't been too impressed by the few works that I've seen by them, but I'm hopeful for this series because so far it's pretty fun. BOCCHI The Rock premiered October 9th, Sunday at midnight, so it's available Saturdays on Crunchyroll and will run for 12 episodes. The tags are comedy, slice of life, CGDCT, and music. Now, I'd personally like to emphasize comedy over cute girls doing cute things because more than anything this reminded me of Kurage Hime and the hilarious introverted struggles of the girls from the Amars. This is based on a 4-koma manga published in Manga Time Kirara Max, which actually does seem to have a lot of cute girl stuff, but I think that this one is going to be good and different because this is Cloverworks, and of course they're responsible for Yakusoku no Neverland, Spy Family, and Sonobisk. BLUELOCK began airing Sunday, October 9th at 1:30 JST, so we get it Saturdays on Crunchyroll. It's promised for 24 episodes, and the tags are sports, team sports, and shonen. Studio 8-Bit of Tensura is adapting this shonen manga from Weekly Shonen Magazine, one of the 3 biggest manga magazines. And at first I was hesitant to start another sports anime because I'm still working my way through Awashi from last season, which is also about soccer, but BLUELOCK decided to go just a completely different direction with its premise and focus on this kind of unrealistic reality show style type competition with the tone of like a deadly game anime like Darwin's Game. Yonin wa Sorezore Uso Tsuku, or The Little Lies We All Tell, airs Sundays at 2 JST, and it started this past weekend on October 16th. It's available Saturdays on Crunchyroll. The tags are comedy, shonen, and slice of life, and this is definitely a comedy. This is based on the 2020 shonen manga from Besatsu Shonen Magazine, which is part of the Weekly Shonen family. The narration and the timing are hilarious, the tone reminds me of Kaguya-sama, and this premise turns CGDCT anime on its head. Studio FLAD, which hasn't worked on many other titles, will take up the animation. Sundays we get C Danchi, or Housing Complex C. This is a 4-episode original that started Sunday, October 2nd at 1300 JST. It's an original by Akatsuki, which seems to be making the change from production to animation studio, and it has one tag, horror. It's available on Adult Swim, HBO Max, and Spectrum On Demand. Fuufu Ijou Koibito Miman, or More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers, premiered Sunday, October 9th, 2200 JST, and is available on Crunchyroll. The tags are comedy, drama, romance, school, and seinen. And this is based on a newish, okay-rated seinen manga from Young Ace. Relatively new studio Mother is taking up the adaptation. And I'm sorry you guys, I know that I'm probably not the intended demographic for this one, but I just didn't really like it. I didn't like the ridiculous futuristic home ec premise, or the out-of-place fan service, or the self-centered protagonist, or the fact that he's just accidentally putting the moves on 2 different girls at the same time. I didn't like the lack of relationship building or character building, and I didn't like the fact that the story is basically just a rip-off of Toradora. On Mondays, Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tempo Kei, or Management of Novice Alchemist, airs at 2100 JST. It premiered October 3rd. It's promised for 12 episodes, and it's available on High Dive. The tags are adventure, fantasy, and slice of life. This is based on a 2019 light novel series with a manga adaptation that started serialization in Comic Valkyrie in December 2020. Working on this is Studio Enki, which did a couple of game isekai that I actually enjoyed, Full Dive and Mobseka. They're also handling the 2nd season of the ecchi anime Uzaki-chan this same season. Cool Doji Danshi, or Play It Cool Guys, premiered October 11th, Tuesday at 1:30 JST. This is a 2-core series of 15-minute episodes, and the tags are comedy and slice of life. And I think it's pretty interesting that it came about in a very cool, organic sort of manner. This series started as Twitter visuals, then Natta sensei began a webcomic on Pixiv, then it got taken up by Square Enix in its Gangan Comics publication, and now the legendary studio Pierrot of GTO, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Beelzebub is taking on the adaptation and the final arc of Bleach this same season. No word yet where or if Cool Danchi will be available to stream. AQ Shonen, or Eternal Boys, airs Tuesdays at 2:20 JST. It premiered October 10th, and it's comprised of 24 13-minute episodes. There's also no word on where or if the series will be available to stream, which I think is a real shame because the premise sounds interesting. The tags are male idols and music, but it's about middle-aged men that decide they want to start a pop idol group. This is an original by Leiden Films, who did the TV anime adaptation of Berserk and Arsan Senki, and who is also doing the Uchi no Shisho wa Shippoganai adaptation this same season. Tuesdays are surprisingly fun. Shinobi no Itoki runs Tuesdays at 2300 JST. It premiered October 4th, and it's available under its Romaji title on Crunchyroll. This is an original by the studio Troika of Idolish 7, and not much else that I recognize, and this has only one tag, action. But I think it's actually pretty fun so far. I really like the very realistic way that they brought ninja into the modern world, and I really like that they're using actual historical ninja clans. I mean, even I recognize the name Iga. I am a little bit worried about pace and direction because it seems like they're starting a school arc, so I don't really know how much of a story they're going to be able to tell in this 12-episode original. But the showstopper on Tuesdays is Chainsaw Man. It premiered October 12th and airs Wednesdays at midnight in Japan, so it's available Tuesdays on Crunchyroll and Hulu. This is also promised for 12 episodes, and the tags are action, adventure, demons, shonen, supernatural, and gore, and I completely agree. This is a Shonen Jump manga adaptation of the well-rated manga by Fujimoto Tatsuki sensei. It's by the big name studio MAPPA of Jujutsu, Dororo, and Sakamichi no Apollon, if any of you actually remember that anime. But they also worked on Dorohedoro, which I think is relevant considering the amount of gruesome brutality that is being depicted in this anime, and it's being depicted oh so well. Now, I personally really hate it when violence or sexual content is added to a show for like shock value. I think it usually is trying to cover up poor writing, but this show is very well written and the violence is part of the world. The protagonist and the storyline are very compelling, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to stomach this cruel brutality for very long. Wednesdays are pretty busy, starting with Human Bug Daigaku, or the Human Crazy University, which is not a good translation, nor does it describe the plot, by the way. It premiered October 5th and airs Wednesdays at 2200 JST. 12 episodes are promised and will be available on Crunchyroll. The tags are mystery and comedy, and I completely disagree with the comedy tag unless you think The Twilight Zone is a comedy. We follow a death row inmate in Japan through a series of bizarre events, both in his present timeline and in the time leading up to his incarceration. Crunchyroll explains this is based on a web manga which is released as a collection of short stories on YouTube. And I have to say, after looking at the original YouTube channel web manga, it's very bizarre and interesting. This anime seems to be adapting one of these cases in a strange pseudo-educational way, which I found out because I had to fact check some really weird morbid stuff from this show. Scenes will just stop to include long explanations of both the dark and the mundane. All the while, Studio DLE has kept the basic motion and simplified animation of the video web manga, which I think actually fits this bizarre mood. So if you find morbid absurdity humorous, then yeah, I guess this could be a comedy. Kage no Jitsuryokusha ni Naritakute, or The Eminence in Shadow, premiered October 5th and airs Wednesdays at 22:30 JST. This is a 2-core series promised for 20 episodes and will be available on HIDIVE. The tags are action, comedy, fantasy, isekai, and reincarnation, and this is based on a well-rated light novel from 2018. Nexus, which is a relatively new studio I only know for Darwin's Game, will be adapting it. Tensei shitara ken deshita, or Reincarnated as a Sword, airs Wednesdays at 2300 JST. The regular broadcast schedule began October 5th, and 12 episodes will be available on HIDIVE. The tags are action, fantasy, isekai, and reincarnation, and this is based on a 2016 light novel with a pretty decent score for a light novel. Studio C2C of Ska and Tsukimichi is taking on the adaptation. Futoku no Guild, or Immoral Guild, premiered October 5th, Wednesday at 23:30 JST. The tags are comedy, ecchi, fantasy, harem, and shonen, and this is based on a actually not very well rated ecchi manga from 2017 that was serialized in Shonen Gangan, which is part of the Square Enix family. It's being adapted by TNK Studio, which seems to do a lot of this sort of stuff. No word yet on if or where this will be available to stream. Renai Flops, or Love Flops, premiered October 12th and airs Wednesdays at 2100 JST. It's available on High Dive, and the tags are comedy, romance, and school. I think it's pretty safe to say, judging by the teaser, that this is a fanservice-y kind of harem. It's an original by the studio Passione, who did Mieruko-chan and Higurashi Go. Do It Yourself has been airing Thursdays at midnight since October 6th and is available Wednesdays on Crunchyroll. This is an original by Pine Jam, which I only really know for Kageki Shoujo. The tags are school, slice of life, comedy, and CGDCT. Now, I'm not sure if I would particularly label this a comedy because it's not very humorous, and I don't even know if I would label it a cute girls doing cute things type of anime because the girls aren't particularly cute. I'd say the endearing group of friends is like Azumanga Daioh, and the slow aimlessness is like Genshiken. It's slice of life in its true sense of the word, with maybe some commentary on handmade crafts versus manufacturing, represented as the two central best friends of the show. On Thursdays, Mushikaburi Hime, or Bibliophile Princess, has been airing 2100 JST since October 6th and will continue for 12 episodes available on High Dive. The tags are drama, historical, and romance, and this is based on a 2016 light novel series with a josei manga adaptation in Comic Zero Sum, which is also publishing the Hamefura manga adaptation. Adapting the novel into the anime is the big goat studio Madhouse of Death Note, One Punch Man, Hunter x Hunter, Death Parade, Trigun, Ippo, Chiharafuru, and Sakura, just, to name a few. Akiba Maid Senso, or Akiba Maid War, premiered Friday, October 7th at midnight, so it should be available Thursdays on High Dive. It's promised for 12 episodes, and the tags are action and comedy. This is an original by PA Works of Angel Beats, Another, and Appare Ranman, with surprisingly well-rated first couple of episodes on Mal. And finally, on Friday, Uchi no Shisho wa Shippo ga Nai, or My Master Has No Tail, airs 22:30 JST. It premiered September 30th and is set to run for 13 episodes, available on High Dive. The tags are historical, seinen, supernatural, and performing arts, and judging by the PV, this is about rakugo but with supernatural characters. This is based on a 2019 seinen manga published in Good Afternoon, which was picked up by Kodansha for digital publishing late 2021. Adapting it for anime is Leiden Films, which is also working on AQ Shonen this same season. And that's it! Owari desu! There's just a lot to watch this season. I was not expecting for so many series premieres to look that good. I mean, the franchise and sequel lineup is just so stellar this season that I didn't think it was possible to get both, but even the things that I personally wouldn't gravitate towards seem high quality and good for what they are. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy season. And on that note, I'll catch you in the next video.